San Salvador, the capital of El Salvador, is a dynamic and historical city located in the heart of Central America. As the largest city in the country, San Salvador plays a pivotal role as the political, economic, and cultural center of El Salvador. With a population that exceeds 2 million people, San Salvador stands as a vibrant metropolis nestled between the volcanic peaks and valleys of the Apanica-Ilamatepec mountain range. The city's location in the San Salvador Valley, along with its proximity to both the Pacific Coast and the Central Highlands, has made it a strategic and important hub for trade, culture, and governance throughout its history. San Salvador's history is rich and multifaceted, deeply influenced by indigenous cultures, Spanish colonization, and the struggles for independence and social justice that shaped modern El Salvador. Its story is not only that of a city but also a reflection of the broader historical and social changes in the region. From its origins as a settlement of the Papil people, its transformation into a colonial outpost of the Spanish Empire, to its role as the heart of the Salvadoran struggle for independence, San Salvador has been at the forefront of defining the nation's identity. Today, San Salvador is a city of contrasts, an urban center with a growing economy and modern infrastructure juxtaposed against the remnants of its colonial past, its volcanic landscape, and the enduring legacy of its turbulent recent history. The city continues to evolve, striving to balance modernization with the preservation of its cultural heritage. While San Salvador faces challenges such as poverty, inequality, and crime, it is also a city filled with resilience, where the aspirations of its people are reflected in the ever-changing cityscape, the vibrant cultural expressions, and the dynamic political climate. The geography and climate of San Salvador. The geography of San Salvador plays a central role in shaping the city's character. The city is situated in a valley, surrounded by majestic volcanic peaks, such as the San Vicente and Ilamatepec volcanoes, which dominate the landscape. These towering mountains, some of which are dormant, provide both a natural boundary and a stunning backdrop to the city. The San Salvador volcano, also known as Ilamatepec, is one of the most prominent natural landmarks in the area. It has influenced the local culture and economy, as the fertile volcanic soil has been key to agriculture in the surrounding regions. San Salvador's climate is classified as tropical, with a distinct wet and dry season. The wet season, from May to October, brings heavy rains, while the dry season, from November to April, is characterized by warm temperatures and limited rainfall. The average temperature in the city hovers around 25 degrees Celsius 77 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, which makes the climate generally temperate compared to other Central American cities situated at lower altitudes. This mild climate, along with the valley's fertile soil, has allowed San Salvador to thrive as a center of agriculture, with coffee, sugarcane, and other crops playing an important role in the local economy. The proximity to the Pacific Ocean has also shaped the city's environment, with access to the coast and the abundance of coastal resources playing a role in San Salvador's development as a commercial hub. The geography of the region, however, does come with its challenges. San Salvador is located in an active seismic zone, and the region is prone to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The city has experienced numerous devastating earthquakes throughout its history, most notably the 1986 earthquake that caused widespread destruction and loss of life. Despite these environmental challenges, San Salvador has managed to adapt and rebuild, with resilient infrastructure and strong community ties that have helped the city recover after natural disasters. The surrounding mountains and volcanoes also offer recreational opportunities, such as hiking and birdwatching, and contribute to the city's scenic beauty, which continues to attract both locals and visitors. The historical roots of San Salvador. The history of San Salvador dates back to the early 16th century, when the region was inhabited by the Papil people, an indigenous group of Nawa origin. The Papil had established a complex society with their own culture, language, and political structure. They lived in what is now central El Salvador, where they built villages and developed agricultural practices. The name, San Salvador, itself is derived from the Spanish word for Holy Savior, reflecting the city's religious significance after its colonization by Spain. In 1524, the Spanish conquistadors, led by Pedro de Alvarado, arrived in the region. They defeated the Papil and established control over the area. San Salvador was officially founded as a Spanish settlement in 1525, making it one of the oldest colonial cities in the Americas. Under Spanish rule, San Salvador became an important center for trade and commerce in the region, with its strategic location providing access to both the Pacific and the interior of Central America. During the colonial period, San Salvador's role as a religious and administrative center grew, with the construction of churches, monasteries, and other important buildings. The Spanish influence on the city's architecture, religion, and social structure can still be seen today in many of the city's most iconic landmarks, such as the Metropolitan Cathedral and the National Palace. The struggle for independence from Spain was a turning point in San Salvador's history. El Salvador was part of the larger Captaincy General of Guatemala during the colonial era, and it was in the context of broader regional movements for independence that San Salvador played a key role. In 1821, Central America declared its independence from Spain, and San Salvador became part of the newly formed United Provinces of Central America. However, political instability, regional conflicts, and disputes over governance led to the eventual dissolution of the Union, and El Salvador declared its full independence in 1841. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, San Salvador witnessed political upheaval, social unrest, and the struggle for land and labor reform. The country's elite classes, who were heavily involved in agriculture and coffee production, controlled much of the wealth and power, while the majority of the population remained impoverished. This social inequality, combined with tensions over land distribution, sparked several uprisings and revolutions in the 20th century, including the infamous 1932 Salvadoran peasant massacre, in which thousands of indigenous people were killed by the military. Cultural identity and heritage of San Salvador. San Salvador's culture is deeply influenced by its colonial past, indigenous heritage, and the diverse traditions brought by waves of immigration. Over the centuries, the city has been a melting pot of indigenous, Spanish, African, and even Middle Eastern influences, which have created a vibrant and diverse cultural landscape. One of the most enduring aspects of San Salvador's identity is its indigenous roots. Despite the effects of colonization, the indigenous peoples of El Salvador have maintained many of their traditions, languages, and cultural practices. Today, many Salvadorans identify as mestizo, reflecting the blending of indigenous and Spanish heritage. The indigenous languages of Nahuatl and Pipil are still spoken in some rural areas, and indigenous traditions are celebrated through festivals and ceremonies. Religion plays a central role in the cultural life of San Salvador. Catholicism, introduced by the Spanish, has been the dominant faith for centuries, and the city is home to many important religious landmarks. The Metropolitan Cathedral, located in the historic center of the city, is one of the most significant religious structures in El Salvador. It houses the tomb of Archbishop Oscar Romero, a key figure in the country's history, who was assassinated in 1980 while advocating for the rights of the poor and oppressed. San Salvador is also known for its vibrant art scene, with a thriving tradition of music, dance, and visual arts. Traditional Salvadoran music, such as cumbia, salsa, and merengue, forms the soundtrack of daily life in the city. The National Theater of San Salvador and other cultural institutions regularly host performances, exhibitions, and cultural events that celebrate the country's artistic heritage. In addition to the arts, San Salvador is known for its rich culinary traditions. Salvadoran cuisine is characterized by its use of corn, beans, rice, and fresh vegetables, with dishes such as pupusas, stuffed corn tortillas, yuca, cassava root, and tamales being staples of the local diet. The city's bustling markets and street vendors offer a wide variety of traditional foods, providing a taste of Salvadoran culture in every dish. The economy and development of San Salvador. San Salvador is the economic heart of El Salvador, contributing significantly to the country's GDP. The city is home to the majority of the country's industries, financial institutions, and service sectors. Over the years, San Salvador has evolved into a modern urban center with improved infrastructure, growing commercial activity, and increasing foreign investment. The economy of San Salvador is diversified, with key sectors including manufacturing, agriculture, trade, and services. The city is a major center for the textile and apparel industry, with many multinational companies establishing operations in the region. Coffee production remains a vital part of the local economy, with El Salvador being one of the largest coffee producers in Central America. The growing tourism sector is also important, with visitors flocking to San Salvador for its historical landmarks, cultural attractions, and proximity to natural wonders. In recent years, the city has made strides in improving its infrastructure, including the development of public transportation systems, the expansion of road networks, and the construction of modern office buildings and residential complexes. The establishment of industrial parks and free trade zones has also attracted foreign investment, further boosting the city's economic growth. However, San Salvador faces ongoing challenges, including income inequality, poverty, and unemployment. The city's rapid urbanization has led to the growth of informal settlements, where residents often lack basic services and infrastructure. Crime and violence, exacerbated by the influence of gangs, continue to be significant problems in certain areas, though efforts have been made to improve security and law enforcement. Modern San Salvador, a city in transition. Today, San Salvador is a city that is in transition. It is a place where the old meets the new, with historical landmarks and colonial architecture existing alongside modern skyscrapers, shopping malls, and hotels. The city is becoming more connected to the global economy, with improved transportation links and a growing tourism sector. Efforts to modernize the city's infrastructure are ongoing, with new public transportation initiatives, the construction of urban parks, and the rehabilitation of public spaces aimed at making the city more livable and accessible. At the same time, San Salvador continues to struggle with the legacy of political violence, inequality, and the need for social reform. Yet, in the face of these challenges, San Salvador is a city of hope and resilience. Its people are determined to overcome adversity, building a better future for the next generation. The cultural vibrancy, the growing economy, and the progressive spirit of its inhabitants all point to a city that is poised for a bright future despite the obstacles it may face. In conclusion, San Salvador is a city that encapsulates the history, culture, and aspirations of El Salvador. From its indigenous origins and colonial past to its role as the political and economic heart of the country, San Salvador continues to evolve, shaped by both its heritage and the modern world. Whether through its historical landmarks, its dynamic cultural scene, or its ongoing struggles and triumphs, San Salvador is a city that reflects the resilience and spirit of its people.